Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Ginger and Chocolate Podcast. I'm Mike, and my co host Lindsay is with me. Lindsay, what's up?
Let's see. I've been doing a lot of working out.
Yeah?
And as we discussed, I've been doing a lot of looking at memes.
Yes.
I have some generalized anxiety right now. And so I'm doing my best to take care of myself. And one of the things I did was I reconnected with my coach, Jess Smith. So I now have, because I
Hmm.
have the team, I have the team sheeper, but then
Yeah.
Jess does individual. And I now have a Training Peaks full of everything I need to do on a daily basis, which is helping me because I can I can just feel overwhelmed and then not do anything for myself.
Yes. Uh huh.
How are you doing?
Similar. I got a little just anxious about all the unknowns going on right now. But I am supplementing my anxiety with a lot of good quality memes, a lot of good quality dog time, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dog time's great. And then I also have a coach that's just prescribing me weightlifting workouts, so I'm doing that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
How's the weightlifting going? Do you do like? Are you trying to get heavier and heavier weights, or what is sort of the goal there?
yeah. I mean, goal one right now is just to build up some muscle and tone and unfat myself a little bit. I think that's the scientific term. So once I get unfatted quite a bit, and then I will go to get a little bit bigger and more defined. Because
Mm,
he asked me about goals. I mean, this guy's a former Olympic weightlifter and
wow.
helps is a strength trainer for Olympians now. But he's like, what are your goals? I was like, I don't have any specific, like I want to bench 300 pounds, kind of goals, any numbers there. Because I was like, I've been out of the weightlifting game for a while. So I just want to look better. I want to feel strong. I want to be so I can run 3 to 5 miles, but still be able to lift heavy things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds like a good goal.
yeah,
And then you have to run 13 in September. Don't forget that
yes, I
because we're
do.
doing it.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting that we're doing a relay, and I'm like, oh, I do need to ride. I do need to ride. I can't just not ride this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And longer than 30 miles. Um, well, I think because of just the overarching feeling of doom and gloom out there, I think today maybe we could talk about fun stuff, lighthearted stuff, tell some funny
Hmm.
stories, and just have a chat that is not based on anything doom and gloom.
Yeah,
Does that sound
exactly.
okay?
Sounds great.
All righty. Do you have a story to tell?
Excuse me. Yes, I do actually. I've been telling people, a lot of people, when they ask me about my military experience and what it's like to be in the Marines, there's a lot of expectation of a lot of serious stuff, and there was a lot of serious stuff. However, when we talk about boot camp, basic training, whatever we want to call it, one of the hardest things besides getting in really good physical shape and this just the stress of getting yelled at the whole time, believe it or not, one of the hardest things was not laughing because there'd be some comedy gold happening,
Really?
from the drill instructors, and we'd have to stand at attention and not, keep our bearing, not laugh. Um,
Were they
it was
trying to
what's
make you
that?
guys were they trying to make you guys laugh or were they just saying stuff and it
I think so, and I think they do it for their own entertainment
mm,
and just to see how far they can push it with
hmm
with people keeping their bearing. Because, and you think about this too, any high pressure situation, when something remotely funny happens, it makes that exponentially funnier.
That's true. That's absolutely
So
true.
yeah, one of the best ones that I had was on Sundays. Um, our senior drill instructor, that's like the main guy, would sit down with us and he'd take off his big Smokey the Bear campaign cover and sit down and just talk to us kind of like man to man, and they called it core values. And I remember that, and I'll never remember what the guy was talking about, but he was, rather imposing, strong guy. Think of a Marine. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
Like just we had 3 drill instructors, a little guy, a medium guy, and then the bigger guy. And
The three bears, like Goldilocks and the three
yeah,
bears.
3 bears. Yeah. Yeah. And so he's sitting there, this tall, like strong African American drill instructor. You can picture a drill instructor, very loud, imposing guy. And he's telling us something, and all of a sudden, it's kind of quiet, and a guy, another recruit, sitting a couple guys away from me, just lets out this little squeaker fart, just goes like that. And the look on this guy's face, this drill instructor, was like, "What the? No, that really just happen?" And he looked at him and he goes, "Boy, did you just fucking fart while I'm talking to you?" And he goes, "Yeah, yes, sir." And he's like, "Well, suck it up." And so he like puffs up his chest, like kind of suck up his posture. He's like, "No, suck it up." And he said, "No, boy, I said eat that fucking fart."
Oh my God.
And I'm watching him go like this. He's like, "Make the sound effects." And so I'm watching this guy going, and I'm sitting there while this guy is trying to eat a fart out of the air. Just like, oh, I'm pinching my fingernails. I'm curling my toes. I'm like trying to like bite my tongue. Like, so I won't laugh. I'm like, what is happening here? And he just sounds like Pac-Man. He's like, no, some of it's over there. And he's going, no, it's over there now. And I'm sitting there forever. Yeah. So it was moments like that where some of the hardest. I'm like, what is going on right now?
That poor guy. He was probably holding it for the longest time.
Yeah. That was wonderful.
I don't know why bathroom humor is so fun, but even at my age, anything to do with like farts just kills me. I don't know why.
They're pretty good. Pretty
Yeah,
timeless.
well, I have, speaking of bathroom humor, I have a story. Did I read? Well, I don't know if I told you or not, but I went on an internet date. So before Josh and I started really dating, we were friends, and we used to work out together and go for runs and things like that. And I had a big crush on him, and he definitely had a crush on me too. But is what's the word for it? Commitment phobic to a certain degree.
I see.
Or he doesn't like change. So any change. So we're spending all this time together, and then we kind of hooked up. And he said to me, "Well, I don't want to date anybody. I just want friends with benefits." And I was like, "No, I'm 39 years old. I'm not doing that. I have self-respect. So that's not what we're doing."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I'm not ready to date." And I was like, "That's fine, but you're not going to see me, without."
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, "Go away till you figure out your shit." And but of course, I was very sad about this. And about a month later, a girlfriend of mine, or maybe even longer than that, it's probably 6 weeks later, a girlfriend of mine was like, "Let's make an online profile for you." And I was like, I don't know. She's like, "Let's do it." And she said, "I found one for athletes." I don't remember what it was called, but there was like a dating app specifically for athletes.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah. Um, and I don't know how well it worked for others. Didn't work for me, and you'll hear why in a minute. But so I went on. She helped me make a profile. This other friend took a picture of me and went on there and said, "I'm a triathlete, etc." And this guy reached out who said he reached out for a coffee, and he was a triathlete from the East Bay, and I was like, okay. And he was a little like my age range. He was at the very youngest part of my age range, and I was like,
Nice.
And I said, "You're a little young," but and he was like, "No, no, no, I whatever." So went to coffee, immediately knew this guy was not going to be, I was never going to date this guy. Never.
Within the first like few seconds, you're like,
Yeah, I was like, no.
and that's a no.
And that's a no. But super nice triathlete, and he was a swim coach. So we were talking about open water. It was a good conversation, just not dateable guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, "Oh, do you want to go get something to eat?" And I said, "Of course." We went and ate, and then we realized we were both parked in the same parking structure in Palo Alto, and he was like 6'4" or something. He was really tall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an underground parking lot. So I go down with this guy into an underground parking lot. This guy that I don't know, which women know that that's just dumb. You don't do
Yeah.
that. But I had not been on the I had not been on the dating scene for a long time. Never been on the internet. It just wasn't even thinking about it. So we get there. We're underground, and he's talking to me. He's standing pretty close, talking to me, and all of a sudden he got this weird look on his face. And that's the moment I was like, oh my God, I'm down here with this guy by myself. There was no one else in the park. I'm like, what am I doing? This is sketchy. And I hear, and I'm like, and I thought, oh, he farted. And it was like kind of juicy. And I was just like, ew, ew. So I looked down for a minute because I just thought, oh, he's probably embarrassed or whatever. I would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's standing in a puddle of diarrhea.
Diarrhea. Yes. On a first date.
Looked me directly into my eyes and shit himself.
You had that power out, man, Lindsay.
I was like, are you okay? Which is the dumbest question to ask because no, I just shit myself. But I said, are you okay? And he was like, and I said, I have a towel. And he's like, I guess I better go.
Oh my God.
I guess
would just drive my car off the Bay Bridge if that happened.
Well, so he kind of hesitated, and I was like, bruh, I mean, and then he walked off right to his car. And I just got in my car and was like, okay, God, I get it. I'm not ready. It's not my time to be doing this. And during this time, I had been spending all this time crying over Josh. And, I'd go for these runs and cry. And because we weren't even hanging out as friends, and we'd been hanging out as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was leaving the parking structure. I was like, dang, one of the first people I would tell about this would be Josh. This guy shit himself. But I couldn't call him. And, a couple of days later, I got an email from Josh saying, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. I don't friends with benefits. I didn't mean it. And so we ended up getting together. We've been together ever since, almost 15 years. But I did tell him, the first time we hooked up for coffee, like right after he emailed me, I did tell him I went on a date, and he got all like, oh, I mean, you went on a date? That's so fast. We were just, and I was like, hold on. Before you get all jealous, homie shit himself right in front of me. So we're good. My girlfriends were calling it a mudslide. I mean, it was horrible.
Oh.
And,
you can't live that down. That's just like, well, I guess I'm moving to Akron, Ohio now.
And he emailed me, this guy, or reached out on the app and was like, yes, he's like, I had a wonderful time, except for, he's like, I wanted to let you know I'm okay.
What?
Blah, blah, blah. And except for that, I had a wonderful time. And I was like, I wish you the best in life. I just wrote back and was like, I'm glad you're okay. All the best, because there are some dating rules. And one of them is you can't lose control of your bowels in front of somebody and expect them to go on another date with you.
That's one of those unwritten first date rules. You don't shit yourself in a puddle.
Well, I was like, geez, dude, like, you're 6'4". This was a long, kind of quite a journey all the way to the floor here.
Yeah.
So he
exactly.
really had some issues. I don't know why. I guess maybe he got food poisoning or something.
Oh God, how unfortunate.
I was like, only me. And that was it. I've stayed with Josh. Even when I'm mad at him, I'm like, yeah, remember the dating scene out there. What did Josh do? Not put away the dishes? You're going to live.
What if this guy's a listener? Mudslide. Hey, man.
Ooh. Hey, what's up,
I hope you're doing
Mudslide?
well. Hope the swim coaching's going well.
I really wish the best for you. And I hope that you found somebody. I hope that you were
Yeah.
able to maintain control of your bowels. See, here's the thing. I've had men in this situation tell me, you don't stand there. You run. Even if you never see her again. You don't stand and look in her eyes while you're doing this. Like Josh is like, you
Oh
would have
my.
never seen me again. He's like, I would have run so hard and you would not have even known why. I would have just
Yeah.
taken off running. The second I realized I was losing it. And then
Yeah, just make up any excuse. Yeah. Oh, my cat has an orthodontist appointment. I gotta go.
gotta go. And then this guy who's on my team, he has a theory. He's like, no, he meant to do that. He wants you to take care of him. Like he's like one of
Oh
those like,
God.
because he was younger than me, and I was like, I don't want to date younger people, and he's like, no.
Ugh.
And so he said,
He
he's
wants a
like
nurse, mommy.
yeah, he wants a nurse mommy to take care of, put him in his little diety. I was like, I almost wanted to throw up.
That's so
He's like,
gross.
that's why he stared at you. He was trying to figure out how you're going to react to that. And I was like,
Exactly. I did my part. Balls in your court, Lindsay.
and I'm trying to give you the towel that I used to wipe my dog off after the dog barked. That was what I was doing. It's like, here you go, buddy. So
Oh my God.
that's got to be one of the worst dating stories out there. And I've had
That's
girls, say, I'm afraid to go online, but I guess it's the way everyone does it. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I mean, go for it. I have one story for you, but outside of that, I'm sure it's all good.
it's intentional or unintentional. We'll never know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
That's probably enough for the
Poo humor.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are
Wow.
you? So you're coping with memes and working out. That's what you told
Hmm.
me before.
Yeah.
And is all the working out strength working out? You're doing some running as well.
Hmm. Yeah. I haven't ran for the last couple of weeks, but yeah, mostly lifting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what helps a lot too? Stretching.
Yes, that is true. You know what I forget to do a lot? Stretch.
Stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll remember when can't stand up straight.
Well, yeah, when you have no choice, but yeah, when it's just like a nice lower back stretch, or
Mm-hmm. Do you?
I love a lower back stretch where I move my legs side to side and I keep my back still.
And are you laying down, or are
Yes.
you? Yeah. So do you have a routine you do? Stretch.
Not really. I just kind of as needed,
Mm-hmm.
and just whatever needs to be stretched out. That and like one of those trigger point foam roller
Mm-hmm.
things.
Foam
Yeah.
roller is good, but it's also like a little torture device for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. You can
Mm-hmm.
make it as difficult as you want. That's for sure.
So Jess, my coach, puts mobility in Training Peaks every day.
Hmm.
So there's like 10 minutes of strength and 10 minutes of mobility.
Hmm.
It's not too long. Sometimes I forget to do it. Like last night, I forgot to do it. But I noticed last time I was working with her, just doing that 10 minutes every day made
Hmm.
such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And when I was taking my yoga teacher training, I was very, limber. And that really helped my running, helped run
Yeah.
injuries from stopping. I mean, not having run injuries. But one of the things that we learned in yoga teacher training is that stress, you can carry that, in your body,
Hmm.
in parts of your body. And as you release that, as you stretch that part of your body out, um, it will kind of release some of that toxic stress that you're holding in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. I've had people, one of my good friends and a body worker, Sonia, was doing some work on me too, and old war injuries.
Mm.
And she does trauma informed work. So she was working on me and said like, "Oh, what's this?" I'm like, "I don't know, a
Oh.
knot in my muscle." She's like, "No, there's what happened." I was like,
Ah.
"Oh, that was when I, was pinned against the wall getting shot at." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I can tell something something of that
That's
was
pretty
trapped there."
amazing
Yeah,
that she could feel that trauma.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you
So I know how to get stuck in the body.
do you get body work still quite a bit?
I haven't for a little while. Um, I think it's about time. I think it's about time because
Hmm.
it's um it's better, I think, to get regular body work done, especially during stressful periods if you can.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Agreed.
then when things get really stressful, then you're more ready for them as opposed to like accumulating, you know,
Right.
more and more tense muscles.
Um, you should tell the listener how you described uh, the whole tense. If you're a fighter, being
Yeah.
tense versus not tense in a situation.
Yeah, yeah. When we were talking earlier, we were talking about being stressed or tensed, and um, I think our relationship with consuming media and news, and what I've was taught in jujitsu when I was doing that was that if you're a fighter and you're ready for a fight, or even if, like, let's say you work emergency services and you're waiting for to get the call, you can't stay tense the whole time. You'll burn out because if you stay tense the whole time, then when the moment arrives, you've drained your energy, as opposed to intentionally staying loose. So when the moment arises, like for a fighter, when you throw that punch and then you tense at the right moment,
Mm-hmm.
you're ready.
Yeah.
And because you're ineffective, essentially, if you stay tense and stressed the whole time.
Hmm. That's true. Um, Even to the extent, like, now this is not the same thing. It's not positive, but you know how drunk drivers get in an accident and
Mm-hmm.
there are accidents that a normal person who's not drunk would be in pretty bad shape,
Yeah.
and they aren't really hurt because they're just loose,
Yeah.
because the well, I wouldn't say it's the ability to not tense up, it's just the inability. They're just not tensed up because they're drunk.
Mm-hmm.
um, Makes a difference in terms of the outcome of that accident, because just the tensing of the body can cause additional injuries apparently. um, and so that makes, I mean, I had not thought about it before you said it, but that makes perfect sense to me about being tense, and I'm going to try to do some things to detensify myself. um,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in a workout or after a workout, I do feel a million times better. I
Yeah.
do feel a million times better. And also doing some meditation and just trying to, like, reframe things in, for me, in the context of the universe. Like, we are a grain of sand, not even that big, drifting through this
Mm-hmm.
huge, wide, vast universe, multiverse. We don't even know really what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, what we do know now shows that we're tiny, we're nothing, and we don't even know the extent of the whole thing.
Right. It only gets smaller from there, right?
It's only, yes, we're only going to get smaller. And so today in this moment, it's like all of this stuff that I'm holding on to is not really the most important thing in the world, because nothing is when you put it in the context of like how tiny we are. Like
Mm-hmm.
my daily angst about whatever, um, about society, or just even my own crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, even if we're facing, real consequences, decisions, of things happening, it's still important to come back to just find connection with a living being, whether it's a person or an animal.
mhm,
Ground yourself,
mhm.
feel yourself in your body.
Mm-hmm.
and just stay in the moment.
Well, that's really good. And the people in your life that have you being strong in the face of them are really lucky. You know, it's helpful for me when I'm facing something that's real that can have will have real impact on me, to have someone else with me who is you know staying strong is helpful. It helps me stay strong too. Like, okay.
That's so helpful, isn't it? When
Mm-hmm.
you look at somebody and somebody, they're not unconcerned,
Right.
but they're holding steady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's I've been talking to my colleagues in different offices,
Mm-hmm.
and just saying, just if you can do anything today, choose to keep your heart open, choose to be strong,
Mm-hmm.
choose to be brave, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes that's the best we can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, so I put on a brave face the other day, and it wasn't. It was in the face of my new boss telling me, and I don't know why she felt she needed to tell me this, but she was telling me how she and her husband did the research, and they don't believe in vaccinations, and they use the whatever that horse one was people were using.
Oh, ivermectin, that one.
Yeah, yeah, and she just kind of went on this whole thing about you
That's a
know
fun office topic to have.
uh-huh, I know. I was like, okay, lady. um
That's not polarizing at all.
no. And I'm like, you're my new. And when someone's saying something kind of what they know could be outrageous or
Mm-hmm.
like that could be sort of so she was kind of looking to see how I was going to react, and I don't have a poker face, and I know this, and the only thing when she was talking is like, keep your face together, keep your face together, keep your face together, because I, I could tell she wanted to see, how, and so I just said, yeah, yeah, we all have our own approaches to medical stuff, and
Holy
for me,
God.
I I got the vaccine, and I felt like it was the right thing to do. But I mean, we all get to choose what we do with our own bodies, and I was kind of like,
Very diplomatic. Hey, Lindsay,
mm-hmm.
this lady, like your boy on the date, she verbally shit herself and looked for your reaction.
Why is everyone trying to do that? She totally did. Like, is this an appropriate conversation at work? Especially with the boss and a new employee.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. It was a long conversation too. Like, it was like 20 minutes of this. So,
Oh my God.
but afterwards, I just thought, okay, well, I got through it. She seemed to be happy with me when she got off the phone. I managed to keep my face together, and I thought, I've learned something here, which is I don't need to share my opinions about my physical health, like about my going to the doctor, whatnot, with people that work with me or that I'm managing. Like, I learned something. I don't.
Yeah.
There's some stuff you don't need to share. Although I think she had a motive, which was to see how I would react. But
Ugh. Yeah,
and I
that's
kind of
fun.
wonder, like, what would have happened if I'd been like, "Ugh, what? You took
Yeah.
horse dewormer or what?" I don't even know what it was. I
Right,
don't.
right, right, right.
I just, all I know is horses. And she even said, she goes, I know, I know. People say it's horse stuff, but it worked for us. And I thought, I mean, I guess you're lucky to not be really sick from taking like large animal meds. But
I
you
just
know,
think in general, if you're bringing up something that's known to be polarizing just to see how someone else reacts, it's like, it's a power play right there, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was like thinking, oh, good. This is my boss. Like, this is a long term relationship I'm in here.
Mm, hmm.
on the upside, she, you know, uh, there's not that much more that she's going to be able to say that I'm not going to be able to keep my face straight through. Like this was a big one because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now I'm ready.
exactly,
Like,
exactly. You're advanced.
I'm staying loose, but I'm ready. Bring up the next topic. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about
Man,
religion and politics, and
that's
then we'll move
right.
on to diet. That's a fun, friendly conversation.
I'm sure she's going to go religion and politics next. It's got to be. If we're lucky, we'll get to race and uh, some other, fun
Oh
topics.
yeah,
But
yeah.
um, so I have a story that has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about.
Okay.
But it does have to do with me being a boss and um, how I reacted to something that was happening. Um, and I'll just tell you right now, I reacted by firing the person like on the spot, but
Wow.
which sounds really bad. But as you'll see, there was nothing else I could do. I mean, they didn't shit themselves, so it wasn't as bad as it could be. But this is in my restaurant that I owned,
Yeah.
and and so we had a prep cook. He was amazing, and we sold sandwiches, salad, soup, like that
Mm-hmm.
kind of lunchtime stuff. So he would make these giant vats of tuna because we made a tuna melt and people really liked it. So we went through a lot of tuna. So this was like a huge bucket of tuna,
Mm-hmm.
and I walk into the walk-in and I watch an employee stick her bare hand into the vat
Yes.
of tuna and just bring it to her mouth and shovel it in.
Yes. Exactly. OSHA approved. I love that.
Well, and here's the thing. I every shift they worked, they got a free lunch. Like you could have a sandwich and a drink and then chips. So people aren't starving on their shift,
No,
you know?
no. You know when you do that and when it's appropriate to do that? When you're a slave on a Viking rowing ship and you get like 2 seconds to like scoop into the bucket of fish.
Exactly, because you're not getting fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I
Outside of
go,
that, it's kind of hard to justify.
you're right. If you're desperate, I mean, and that's the thing. I would have still been pissed
Yeah.
if she was desperate for food because I would have been like, let's take the scoop. There's a scoop in there. Like, mind you, there's a scooper in this vat. But she chose to just turn her hand into a scoop and get it right in there.
Bare hand some tuna. Ugh.
And I go, what are you doing? And she turned around. She had tuna all around the outside of her
She had a
mouth.
tuna mustache. Mm.
She had tuna in her hand, and she's like, "Oh, and I'm like, you can't do that." And she was just like, She didn't have anything to say. I mean, she just had tuna all over her face.
What do you say? There's no. Oh, this is the justifiable reason for me sticking my
No.
dirty ass hand in a barrel of food that we're going to serve to people.
And they used gloves when they were prepping the food. So she
Yeah.
took her glove off and stuck her bare hand in the tuna. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what are we? I would have been mad if the glove had gone in, but I would have been less mad because at least she wouldn't have ruined the whole vat. I mean, I had to throw the whole thing away. And I said, I'm really sorry, but you can't work here anymore. And then I was like, how much tuna have I served? Because she was there for probably 6 months before I caught her doing this. It's like, how much tuna have I served that this woman has just been sticking her dirty hand into?
Yeah. I
Oh my
wonder if she
gosh.
ever got a straw and tried to like drink it out of there.
I don't, I was like, I just never understood it. I'm like, you could have a sandwich, you could have your bag of chips. If you were really starving on your shift and it wasn't lunch yet, you could have let me know. I could have done something about it. You could have used the scooper. You could have put your glove on. I mean, there's a million things. She just ran in there and was just like, nah, nah, with a tuna. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's some Cookie Monster shit right there.
Oh God. Owning that place was I was never bored. I was never bored there.
No
Not a
kidding.
second. Yeah. If I had been able to maintain it without thinking I was gonna get into an early grave, I would have stayed because just for the entertainment value. I had uh, I didn't think about it at the time, but I should have sent off the like my security footage videos, and um, I probably would have been able to get on a show or something on the Food Channel because it was just chaos in this deli. I mean, I had 20 full time. It was a really busy place,
Yeah.
so I had 20 full time people and some part time
Oh,
people,
wow.
and 20 full time for food service. A lot of young people
Mm-hmm.
who don't have any sense of like what call in if you're not
Oh
coming
my
in,
God.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So much chaos, unsupervised, if especially young. Yeah,
Hmm.
I worked at a bakery for a little while in my senior year in high school. My friend Jonathan would his favorite thing to do was especially with pumpkin pies. So the decorations they have for cakes, they had like these plastic clowns with plastic balloons that they'd hold.
Uh-huh.
And so the plastic balloons, you could take off the string, and they're just these plastic balls. He'd stick them in the pumpkin pie and like sell it to somebody, and then people would inevitably call in and
Of
or come
course.
in the shop and say, "I ate into this pie and I bit into this plastic ball." And with a straight face, he would look him dead in the eye and be like, "Wait a second, you ordered a plastic ball in your pumpkin pie?" Like, no, 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 no. I bit into one. Somebody put it in there. And you're like, wait, you wanted me to put a, what's happening? That's kind of weird. And then people get more and more mad and just leave. And I'm like, that is diabolical. I could never look someone in the eye and do that. And it was hilarious.
What was his name? Because I think he probably worked for me, to be honest. My God. I definitely had some young men who were uh, out of control with their shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And like unsupervised boys,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they need to be, you need to take them out and have them run a few laps, do a few pull-ups, be like, come on boys, let's get the energy out, and then we can go back and be civilized.
Oh, I wish I had thought about that because they needed something one night. So I had like a supervisor type. I called them supervisors. They basically could close the store and put the
Mm-hmm.
money, put the money in the drawer. I mean, count the money in the drawer. And it was during a period where um, it was hard to find good employees. Like that kind of ebbed and flowed. Like, so for a while I'd have really good employees and then they'd move on. And then sometimes it was hard to get anyone good. So this guy who was this closing supervisor is not someone who I would have normally picked, but I
Mm-hmm.
needed somebody because I couldn't do, I had to go do like the payroll and all that stuff. So I had to have someone help me. So I got this guy and he was fine, but he was a dum dum. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
a 23-year-old or 22-year-old, just dum dum. And we had closers. So there was always three closers, the supervisor and then two others. So there were people that kind of were rolling off their shifts. So they were, closing. And then there was the last three that had to do finish up. So I would look from time to time on the security cameras because I had it on my phone. I could see like live on my
Mm-hmm.
phone. I see, I look one evening, I could tell like music was on because they were kind of dancing and stuff as they were,
Mm-hmm.
which was totally fine by me. But then I look and I see a bottle of Malibu rum off to the
Oh
side.
boy.
Now, the supervisor was like 22, but the other two people were underage. And
Awesome.
I'm like, oh my God. And I see them, they take a shot or they each take a swig off this bottle. I'm like, oh my God. And one of them, I see him, he's got his hand up in the air. He's like, doosh, doosh, doosh. And he's using the meat slicer without the guard on. And I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh my God. So I call in the store and I'm like, hey, just checking on you guys. Want to see if you're done. Cause I was like, I'm going to go in and talk to them face to face tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like got it together a little bit after they're like, oh, Lindsay called in. You could see them kind of like scramble a little bit. So the next morning I get in there. These dum dums, so we didn't serve any alcohol at this place. These dum
Yeah.
dums left the bottle of Malibu. It was empty, by the way. and they left it in the right sitting on this table because they
Oh
forgot.
my God.
I'm like, you guys are idiots. So I brought it into my office, and when Elver came in, I was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?"
Yeah.
And he walks in. I just hold up the bottle, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean." I was like, I gave him a write up. I didn't fire anybody, but I was like, "You guys, you can't serve minors." Like I could have cut his hand off. I mean, he was just using the slicer
It,
without the guard.
not even drinking anything cool. Malibu rum, that stuff
I
is
know.
disgusting. Just drinking that on itself. Ugh.
Well, I think it's like I don't know who brought it in. I don't know
Such
if it
a
was him.
22-year-old move, too.
Totally. Like the bottle looks, because the bottle's white and it's got a picture of the beach on it. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And these two 18-year-olds, they didn't know what,
Yeah, they're just like, ooh, alcohol.
anything. Yeah, I'll
Any
drink
shape or
anything.
form. Yum.
I just have so many great stories. And sometimes I miss the place and I'm like, oh, I had so much fun. I miss that kind of work. And then I remember like the time that I hired a crackhead and I had to like chase him out of the bathroom because he was smoking crack in the bathroom.
How do you have that talk? You like, look, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't smoke crack, at least during your work shift on scene.
Right. I was like, get out of this bathroom. I was like, through the door. I'm like, get out of the bathroom.
What a
And he comes
nightmare.
out and he's like, what? I had to take a shit. And I'm like, dude, we all have noses. Like you're not taking it. We can smell that you're smoking crack in there.
Literally. Oh my God.
And by the way, you're fired.
Yeah. Shocker.
I'd rather work down a man than have a crackhead trying to make a sandwich.
How's your day? Yeah, I had to get the crackhead to stop smoking crack in the bathroom
In
during
the
work.
bathroom. So he's, that poor guy. I did feel being sober. I did have empathy for being an addict,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean you get to keep a job. But I did feel for him,
Yeah. Yeah.
just in the sense that I didn't get fired from a job, but I quit as they were walking down, a couple of times, like they're walking down the hallway to fire me, essentially,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and I was like, I'm out of here.
You got to break up with them first.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Well, I think we did it. Do you have any other stories or anything you want to tell?
Not for today. We'll sprinkle in as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, speaking of smoking crack, I got to go make breakfast for little kids and spread peanut butter and toast.
Yeah, little kids can be like crackheads sometimes. They make no sense. They're aggressive. They're
Yeah.
crazy. All right. Well, we will be back next week. Thanks for listening, everybody. And as always, please like and subscribe on your podcast app or on YouTube. And, share our podcast with someone you think would like it. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.